as we segue to our next guest, Maureen Blaha from the National Runaway Safeline Executive Director. Maureen is the Executive Director of the Runaway Safeline. It's an organization with a mission to keep America's runway, homeless, and at-risk youth safe off the streets. There's so much that is happening all year round. I want to bring Maureen on.
Hello.
Maureen, how you doing?
I'm
great.
How
are you?
How are you doing? I'm good. Good.
Pretty good. Hey, I know I want to thank you for working with us because we were playing phone tag and trying to get our schedules together, and I know tonight it might have been a little bit later than what you wanted to be on the air, so I want to thank you for working with us.
Oh, no, I'm thrilled, and it's my bad because I actually got very mixed up when we were originally supposed to do it a Sunday night a few weeks ago. That was my mistake. I got the wrong time. But here we are tonight, and I'm very excited to be here. Thank you.
Yes, and totally equally excited for you to be on the show. And I got to tell you, when you did call in, I was like, oh, man, we wanted to speak with her. And the show was coming to a close, and I was like, is there enough time to squeeze you in, Maureen? And you know what? you have such a very important organization and a subject matter. I did not want to do a disservice to it. So once again, thank you so much. I mean, I don't even know where to start, Maureen. I mean, what you do is so important. So before I even start to ask questions, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. I'm, as you said, the Executive Director of the National Runaway Safeline, and I have been very fortunate to be in that position for 16 years and have seen some things that change and some things that stay the same, but all of us know that families do struggle. These are tough times for families, and oftentimes young people are feeling like things aren't going quite right at home and end up running away from home, and we are there 24 hours a day, 365 days a year to listen and to help. And even when kids are struggling and they're still home, but trying to navigate adolescence and things that are going on in their home life and at school as well, and we're there for parents. So we do have a broad range. Our focus is young people between the ages of 12 and 24, and for parents as well.
Perfect. I did some reading. I mean, NRS is a wonderful organization because, you know, you do highlight the trends, the emerging trends in that for the youth that are in crisis. So I want to ask my first question. What are some of the warning signs that your child thinking about running away?
Well, a couple of things that we like to say to parents is, first of all, if there are any changes in behaviors or patterns, that often means something is wrong. So that could be, you know, we know that teens need a lot of sleep and they sleep a lot, but if they're sleeping more than normal or if they're not sleeping, if they're spending all their time with their friends and not really communicating, having mood swings, and that these are things that are out of the ordinary, that could be a warning sign. Rebellious behavior is also another indicator that could be the start of trouble. And that could be, you know, grades are dropping, that they may be truant from school, and these are things that don't usually happen. That could be a warning sign. If a young person, if a child ever says, I want to get out of here, I'm thinking of running away, we say take that seriously because it may really be a cry for help, and we would encourage parents to really take note of that. And then the last thing is they may be accumulating money or possessions because if they're thinking of leaving home, they're thinking of running away, they may or may not imagine, well, what would I do once I left home? Well, I might need some warm clothes, I might need some money, I might need some food. And so if you notice as a parent that your child is accumulating possessions like that, that's another warning sign.
So, Maureen, you got to help me on this one because I got a 15-year-old that sometimes, and I don't know if it's just because she's 15 now, where she used to be up under mom and dad. Now she wants her space. Now she wants, to be in her room. And should I be concerned, or is that just, someone being a teenager?
Well, I think that's a really great question. And, we need to recognize that, part of being a teenager is wanting that independence from our families, from our parents. And that's normal behavior, and that's, normal development. And so I wouldn't worry so much about that. But if there are things that are going on that are really unusual, then I would say you need to kind of take note and sit down and have a conversation. The other thing that we've learned through the years is that, we used to think that, when you're 13 years old and your brain is the size of an adult, you're an adult. And really what we've learned over the past 20 years is that the brain development is an interesting field. And now what researchers are telling us is that teenagers, that all of us really don't fully mature, and our brains are not fully developed until we're 25 years old. So teens will do impulsive things. They'll push the envelope. But for parents, what I would argue is you always need to let them know that home is a safe place to fall. They're going to make mistakes. They're going to need you to be in their court, but you need to make sure that you communicate to them that home is a safe place to fall.
This is Ted Hicks for Late Night Parents. We're speaking with Maureen Blaha, the Executive Director of National Runaway Safeline. Maureen, what should a parent do if they suspect their child is thinking about running away? So we might have seen a warning sign or two, but what are the next steps?
So the next steps is to confront your suspicions. Sit down and have a conversation with your child, and do this in a manner where you're not reading the newspaper, you're not watching television, but it really is a message to them that you as their parent are concerned and you want to talk about what's going on. It's a good idea, I would say, to share with your child that, hey, I remember what it was like when I was 15.
Right.
And here's a few things that, seemed overwhelming to me, or a few things that got me into trouble, and really talk about it with them, because it's a way to really, as the adult, help them find positive ways of dealing with their stress, because they are under stress. And let your child know you do not want them to run away. And depending on how the conversation goes, it may be that, hey, maybe this child or this family could benefit from some kind of counseling. We have in our database counseling programs all over the country, including in Long Island. You could always call and get information about that. Go to a school counselor, maybe through the church. That's not a bad thing to have some kind of professional intervention if you're feeling as the parent like you're not really getting through to your child. And just, I had a parent that had said when their child ran away, and we actually were able to help reunite the child and the parent, and she said, I am going to put 1-800-RUNAWAY on all of my kids' friends' gym shoes, because if they ever are away from home, I want them to know that the National Runaway Safeline is there for them and will help.
Excellent. Maureen, so tell me, why is it important for our late night parent listeners to get involved in the runaway crisis?
Well, the real reason is because of the magnitude of this problem. I often talk about it as a silent crisis, but this year, 1.6 to 2.8 million kids will run away from home this year. So if it isn't your daughter or your listener's daughter or son, it could be one of their friends. And it's really important to make sure you have that open communication with your child. And wouldn't it be great if your home was a safe place, that if a kid is struggling in school or struggling at home, that they would know that they could go to your house and, maybe talk about things and just have a safe adult that's there for them.
Maureen, how are parents, teachers, and all adults can get involved to help combat this crisis?
Well, one of the things I would encourage people to do is to visit our website at 1-800-RUNAWAY.org. There are tips for parents, tips for educators, questions that young people will ask, and just kind of poke around and see sort of what's going on and the kinds of questions that are posted on our forum from young people. And if you're so inclined, you could support us by doing a donation. You can do it on the website. But the other thing we have is sort of two real calls to action. One is we have street teams across the country where it's kids, maybe a Girl Scout group, maybe a Key Club, maybe it's a family that join our efforts and become a street team by helping to spread the word that 1-800-RUNAWAY is available both online and through the hotline. Sometimes it could be a church bulletin, sometimes it could be a presentation to a Kiwanis club. Whatever it is, there are opportunities, and we'll kind of help you along if people want to become street team members. And then the other is we have this magnificent runaway prevention curriculum that is free of charge for community groups and schools. And so I would say to the educators that are listening and the parents that are engaged in their kids' schools to talk about, is there a way to bring that curriculum into the school? And there's really no cost for the school to do that.
So we're talking with Maureen Blaha from the National Runaway Safeline. Here's the meat and potatoes of it. What are the latest findings from the National Runaway Safeline Trend Report for this year?
One of the things that I want to say, and at the beginning, Ted, we talked a little bit about how I have seen things change and some not change in the 16 years I've been there. The number one reason that young people reach out to us is because of family dynamics. There is some conflict that is going on in the home that is making that young child, that teenager, the young person, feel that maybe they want to get away from that. The second reason that young people are reaching out to us is because of abuse in the home that could be physical, sexual, emotional, or verbal. And then the third is peer and social issues. We all have heard a lot about bullying, and it still is going on, and sometimes kids just don't know how to deal with it and don't really know how to talk about it. And so they call us, it feels safe, it's confidential, they're often more willing to open up. The other thing that we've noticed in the 2015 statistics is that we are actually hearing more from young people. And I think that, there was a huge spike in 13-year-olds that were reaching out to us. And we think that some of that is because of the digital manner in which young people can reach out to us by doing live chats, sending us a bulletin board posting email to us. And we think that because the younger they are, even the more comfortable they are, let's say, with that digital reaching out that way. And then the last thing I would say is that the reality for gay, lesbian, bisexual, transgender youth is that we are hearing more and more from them around the issues that they are dealing with, around coming out to either their families or their peers in school. And in fact, what we do know is that young people who identify that way are really overrepresented on kids in the total number of kids that run from home, with about 40% of homeless youth identifying that way.
Maureen, that was, so much information. I'm going to have to go through the recording here because I tell you, this interview has been great. So, yes, we know in the month of November, I think originally you and I wanted to get together at the tail end of November.
Right.
But it's the tail end of December, and it's okay. But, National Runaway Prevention Month, which was in November, why isn't this an initiative that's every month?
Well, that's a really good point. It's really what we do in November is put a lot of energy into, sort of this public education campaign to raise awareness about this crisis, this silent crisis that we have in our country, and to engage communities in doing sort of proactive things like having a candlelight vigil to talk about the issue, reaching out to young people. We do a lot on social media that way. But you are absolutely right, Ted. Really, every month should be devoted to supporting families, supporting young people, and preventing young people from running away and becoming homeless on the streets.
Maureen, what are your best practices for our listeners to get in there and participate with the National Runaway Safeline organization?
Well, what I would say is, go on our website, hook up to become a street team member, and that would be really joining our efforts and educating so that any young person who is feeling like they have some crisis they're trying to deal with and they need help, they know that we are a safe place to call, to reach out to, and that we will be there no matter what. I would say that this is a really interesting time of year because it's very hard for all of us to imagine a young person not being with their family over the holidays.
It's true.
And so
it's true.
It's a time that really touches all of us. And so whatever people can do to support families, to reach out to a young person that is struggling, and to remember to really become friends with the National Runaway Safeline, follow us on Facebook, and really educate yourself that this is an issue. It could touch your life, if not directly through your family, through friends, and you want to know that resources are available.
Definitely. Now, after every interview, I usually ask our featured guests best ways to get in contact with them. I think I'm going to do it for you because it's such an important cause. So it's www.1800runaway.org.
Right.
For the hotline is 1-800-RUNAWAY. LinkedIn is National Runaway Safeline. Twitter, 1-800-RUNAWAY. Facebook, 1-800-RUNAWAY. It's so key because our youth are, this is just a topic that for me it's a hot button because we talk about this as parents and we see this on TV and we've seen the bullying and more and more with the LGBT, with suicide and everything else like that. Maureen, I want to just thank you once again. Like I said, it was worth the wait. The conversation was worth the wait. I want to thank you so much for joining us tonight. Want to give you a quick round of applause?
Well, I loved that, Ted, and I just want people to remember that, sometimes all it takes is one caring adult to help a young person find hope and resources. They just need to know that people are there and that people care. And thank you so much for this opportunity.
No, thank you. And I definitely want to get you back on in 2017. So I'm going to say
Great.
Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and for, those that might not celebrate Christmas, Happy Holidays. Everyone has to be politically correct nowadays. But definitely want to get you back on our Sunday show.
Okay,
at,
great.
7 p.m., and we're going to get you on for the new year, and we want to get involved. So thanks again. Thanks so much.
Thank you. You have a great holiday, too, and to all your listeners, take care.
You too. And that was Maureen Blaha, the Executive Director of the National Runaway Safeline. It's an organization